This is Gerardo Del Real coming to you from the 2021 Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek. Joining me today is the CEO of Velocity Minerals, Mr. Keith Henderson. Keith,
hi.
Shaking hands. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Very good.
It's great to have you here in person. How was your trip?
Good. Nice to get out of Canada for a change. Just a little bit of traveling is nice. See people's faces for the first time in a long time. It's been really good.
Absolutely. How has the conference treated you thus far? I understand you're very busy. You are building a multi-asset gold production profile in Bulgaria, which I want to chat about because it's a very stable place. But
probably our third year here, I think. We've got about 42 meetings, something. So yeah, pretty much non-stop from beginning till the end, and then we leave at lunchtime on Saturday. So it's good, it's worth it.
Non-stop is good. A large reason for non-stop for you is because of the fact that, as I mentioned, you have a multi-asset gold production profile that frankly, you have spent years building. You've done it in a place that I don't think gets enough credit for being a stable mining jurisdiction in Bulgaria. I want to get into the assets. I want to get into how stable Bulgaria is. But before that, you and your team have had a pretty good track record of success. And I would love for you to explain to the audience just kind of a bit of your background.
Yeah, I'm a geologist by training. I don't do a lot of geology these days, but I've been a geologist for 25 years and been in the business. I've worked for very big companies and very small companies in many, many parts of the world. And I think I picked up a lot of really balanced experience across a range of commodities, and we think that we've put a really good team together. The other founders, Mark Cruz, who's CEO at New Pacific, previously CEO and founder at Trevally Mining, which everybody knows, and did a great job there. We have that kind of track record on the team and on the board. We've got people who've actually built mines and put operations together, which is great. We also have on the board Stephen Dean, of course, who put together Atlantic Gold and is now working and advancing the Blackwater. The other founders were Stuart Mills, who's our VPX. I don't know how many years experience exactly. I'm going to say 30, but he might not like that. But a real track record of finding gold. And a lot of people in this industry say, oh, I found this, I found that. Stuart has found a lot of gold, and he's found it in a lot of places in the world. And then finally, Daniel Marinov. Daniel Marinov's actually a Bulgarian national, born and bred in Bulgaria. He spent his whole career working all over the world for very big companies. And for this opportunity, he's moved back to Bulgaria, and he's managing our operations in Bulgaria. So it's really great to have him there as well.
It's rare to see that caliber of talent and success in a team for a company that has a market cap of roughly
65, 70 million.
Right. So when you mention the Stephen Deans and Mark Cruz, these are gentlemen that have built mines, have monetized assets in the hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
And so for you to have the market cap that you have, I think that presents the opportunity. Walk me through what it's like working in Bulgaria. I know that's a jurisdiction that isn't on the radar of a lot of speculators. I believe it should be. And I think your experience there could probably speak to that, right?
Our experience has been really good. A lot of us left other opportunities and other things in our lives to come and do this. We all believe that it can be something. All of the four founders have got significant share positions, so we've got 18% of the company today. And that means something to us every day when we get up. Bulgaria has treated us well. We've found the government to be cooperative. We've found that everything works very well there. It's an EU country. You obviously have the stability of the EU, and you have that kind of backing. The most important thing for us, though, is that we work with a Bulgarian mining company called Garupsu. They're our partner in everything they do, in everything that we do together. They have an operating CIL plant in the country. It's the only one in Bulgaria. It's really one of the only ones in Europe. And for us to have access to that to process ore is a huge strategic advantage. It really means a lot to us. The Garupsu are operating a couple of mines. They've permitted mines. They've permitted a CIL plant. For us, that's the kind of advice that we need. As we move forward now, permitting Rosno and moving that forward, we've got the counsel and advice of an experienced Bulgarian company who know how to do it, who've proven that it can be done, and have done it in a very, very timely fashion. So Bulgaria is great. I couldn't say enough good things about it, and being in the EU is really the most important aspect of that. The European Union provides us with that ultimate backing.
You mentioned Rosno, and you won't say it, but I will. I believe it's a takeout target. I think that the consolidation in the gold space has led producers to become cash rich. I think the balance sheets look really good. I think it's a lot cheaper nowadays to go and buy companies that have stable, profitable, economic assets on the cheap per se at a significant premium. It's a lot easier than exploring because bigger companies don't do that very well. And frankly, the mid-tiers don't either.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the assets and the flagship.
Yeah, Rosetta has been a huge success for us. 4-year process. We started drilling in July 2017. A year later, we'd already put out an initial resource and the PEA. 2 years later, a pre-feasibility study. We've been drilling since that and now moving into permitting. That's an incredibly fast rate of progress for any company to achieve.
Absolutely.
We've put together a reserve there, 465,000 ounces. It's a very, very solid deposit. It's truly disseminated, meaning that the grade is very consistent through the entire deposit. That translates into easier mining. It's near surface, good strip ratio. We think it's a really attractive asset for us and for anybody else that might be looking at it.
You mentioned management having significant skin in the game. You also have some pretty supportive shareholders that have pretty significant skin in the game. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, our share register is kind of interesting. We've got 34% sitting with Artemis Gold.
Right.
Stephen Dean liked what we were doing in terms of the hub and spoke model, and sure. Atlantic invested $9 million in 2019, in early 2019. That asset was then spun out into Artemis Gold, and they've continued to support the company, continued to finance. So in total, they've put in $13 million so far. More recently, in late 2020, we took an investment from Dundee Precious Metals. That was $6.7 million. That at the time made them a 9.9% shareholder as well. So two very significant corporate shareholders. We have the 18% sitting with management. We have 13% sitting with an individual high net worth in the United States, who's a very close business associate of mine in the States, and a very, very loyal shareholder as well. And then this tiny little float of 29% of the shares, honestly, within which there's some pretty big positions in Vancouver and elsewhere as well, with some of the brokers that like the story and have been interested from the start.
You've obviously attracted the smart money into the stock. I can say just from the outside in, it's a pretty compelling speculation at current levels, and with that float being as tight as it is, it's not going to take much to move the stock higher, right?
Yeah, we've luckily, well, I guess luckily been moving sideways, like a lot of companies have seen some hard times recently. We just don't seem to suffer from that. It just sits there sideways, and that's fine. It's much better than all of the alternatives, so I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. Walk me through the catalysts that are coming up that should lead to a re-rating, because I think you're overdue for it.
Yeah, look, we've got lots going on, and I guess there's two sides to the stories. We will continue to do what we're doing, what we've planned to do from the very beginning, which is to continue with the permitting at Rosetta. That's probably going to look like a 2-year process or a little bit more. We've been working really, really hard within the local municipality, with the communities. We've been extremely creative in some of the processes and some of the projects that we've put together. And frankly, we've garnered absolutely excellent support from the local municipality. And we think that's the mainstay of getting mines permitted. It's not easy to permit a mine. When you announce a permitting process, you tend to attract attention from stakeholders such as NGOs, anyone that might have an interest in objecting to your project. But fundamentally, when you've got this kind of support locally, things tend to go okay in the end, and that's what we think we can do. Beyond that, that's a process that will continue, and frankly not that interesting for investors sometimes, but we're in the growth phase in terms of exploration. We've got 3 other projects that we've been exploring. We're currently moving into our Glica project, which is a big priority in terms of exploration. It's a 100 square kilometer project. We've got 20 targets. We're just going through a drill permitting process right now, and hopefully we'll have those permits pretty soon. Beyond that, the things that people don't see, we're constantly in a process of project generation. And just to put some context around that, we've got 250 square kilometers of ground that we've actually been working on over the last 4 years. We've got another 600 kilometers of ground sitting in applications which are getting processed. And as those applications come through to us and we begin to work on them, people will see the scope of our exploration really expanding.
Sounds like you have a cornerstone flagship. Sounds like you have a lot of exploration upside, some great shareholders. Let's see if you make it out of the next year before getting taken out, huh?
Yeah, hopefully. Well, we see what happens. Ada Tepe is our neighbor, Dundee's project. That's why they invested. They've communicated this to their own shareholders basically as being a strategic investment, and they've told their shareholders that they look at Rosetta as a potential add-on for Ada Tepe. Ada Tepe is a fantastic asset. It's like 4.5 grams. It's at surface. Right. Beautiful deposit, but unfortunately a 5-year mine life from here, and they will need to add more resources to that. To my knowledge, they don't have any of those resources themselves. The only 2 resources in this area are Rosetta, 20 kilometers away, 465,000 ounce reserve, and our Bichnik project, which we put an initial resource out on, 150,000 ounces. That's just 15 kilometers away. There's nothing else in the area.
A lot to like. Keith, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Take care.
All right.